Hello everybody, I'm Charlie. I work at the Maiden Academy, as we can see. I'm going to be here to talk to you, what am I talking to you about? Combating apathy when upskilling your coding abilities, okay? So if you're learning any sort of coding concept, there's going to be a honeymoon period, you know? You're going to be doing your hello world, you're going to be really excited, you're going to be riding high. Normally, if anyone else is here is like me, after you've done that, your kind of enthusiasm kind of crashes through the floor when you realize you've actually got to write that language professionally and you can't just get things working. So I'm going to try and give you a few tips on how you can kind of break through that wall of apathy and get through to the other side and actually make some progress with the things that you're trying to learn. Now, also an excuse to show you a lot of GIFs as well. So first things to say is that you need to find your motivation and you need to test it, okay? So sometimes the reason why you're learning a particular coding language or something within coding isn't actually the reason that's going to get you through to the finish line, okay? So knowing something for the sake of it, for some people is enough of a motivation, but for others it isn't. So for me, I personally try and find like a pretend motivation, something I can call on when I'm really struggling to kind of get through documentation or try and make it to the end of a YouTube video or something like that. So what I normally do is I think back to when I was working in a hotel and one of the managers tried to teach me how to use a mop. And I was like, well, I feel pretty useless now, so I'm going to prove this guy wrong. That kind of stuck with me as a moment that I thought, well, anytime I feel like I'm not doing well at my job, I'll think back to the time that someone was trying to teach me how to use a mop. And look what I'm doing now. Okay. So yeah, so you should stress test it as much as possible. Next one. That's the only part of the talk I practice, by the way. So yeah, you need to find the right resources for you, okay? So think about the type of learner you are, okay? Are you a visual learner? Are you going to learn most from watching people in real life? Are you going to watch videos on YouTube? There's so many free resources online. That's a really good place for you to go. If you're not a visual learner, you might be able to be a bit more documentation heavy as well. So you might be able to dive into some documentation, be one of those people that can just read a piece of documentation and think, yeah, I know what's going on now, and that's great. And if you're like that, lucky you, and yeah, it's 1 in a million. But if you think about the types of way that you learn how to do things, sometimes experience is better than any of that. So try and find places where you can practice, okay? So it could be going to Code Academy. That's a really good place to start with a lot of languages and projects. It's free. You're not putting any money down. You can just give it a try. That's a really good place to learn. Alternatively, you can go a little bit harder and just find like a boot camp or something like that as well. But that was a shameless plug for the academy there. That's all that's happened. Right? Okay, cool. Next time you want to be immersing yourself. Okay, so by being here in this room, you're already doing this one. So if you've got one of them, this is the one you've already got. Okay, so try and surround yourself with others doing the same thing. That used to be that you'd have to physically be somewhere with other people that are trying to do the same thing as you. But actually, it's not a thing anymore. It's not the case. You can find people digitally. You can find communities online. There's some really good ones, like Twitter's great for developers. Dev2, the Practical Devs, a really good website with some great blogs in there. The benefits are that you're going to be getting some accountability and you're going to be sharing successes as well. And I think that's really important to kind of celebrate the wins as you're doing this. Otherwise, you're going to lose motivation straight away. So don't be afraid of looking like a noob, okay? Even Skeletor needs to ask for help now and again, okay? So the sooner we take the ego out of development, the better, okay? It'll be for everybody. It just makes it so much of a nicer environment to learn in if you're not worrying about trying to look cool or look the best as you're doing it, okay? So just make sure you're asking the right questions, though, not just easily Googleable stuff, okay? You want to be timeboxing everything as well, okay? So if you're sitting there for 2 hours trying to work out some inheritance bug or some inheritance issue, it might be that 2 hours is spent on something else. It will be a lot more productive, okay? So don't necessarily think I have to learn this one thing. You can come at a problem from lots and lots of different angles, and that's always going to be the best approach to take. Cool. Look after yourself. Self-flagellation with regards to coding. It's not great. It doesn't impress anyone. It's not the thing to do. All-nighters, 14-hour shifts, that's not what you want to do, okay? So if anything, it does you harm and it does the community harm as well. It sets unrealistic expectations. So make sure you're looking after yourself. You know, physical, mental health, setting unrealistic goals, these are all really negative things that you want to make sure that you're being aware of. Here we go. Yep, look after the community. Help and encourage others. It's campsite rules. Make it a better place to be than when you came the first time around, okay? Try and lift other people up as you're doing it, okay? Make sure that you're offering help. If you're a senior developer, offer help to the juniors. Even if you're a junior developer, offer help to anyone you can. Make sure you're going online, answering questions on Stack Overflow. Yep, so don't forget what it's like not to know how to do something. Thanks.